You're listening to The Burning Truth. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, dude and dudettes. I'm your host, Matt Burns, and of course, as always, with me, I have got my co-host, my definite great partner on the Burning Truth, which is John Ballore, the man who has been keeping himself so busy, he's almost doing two jobs at once.
Well, you know, greatness has to keep itself occupied. Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on wherever you are, or whenever you're listening.
Yes.
We just thought we'd do a massive introduction, as usual, just to make everyone aware that both myself and John Ballore are not in the same room as each other, so there might be a few interruptions between each other. Please forgive us if we do cross over a few times, but we are in completely different locations.
And so therefore there might be the odd occasion when we're not sure if the other person has finished talking and might start before they have because there's no visual cues between us. But hey, thanks to the wonders of modern technology, we can still do this, even in spite of that fact. So, if you'll forgive a few speed bumps along the way, just sit back, relax, and enjoy.
But it's an amazing thing using the power of the internet. Also, just in case, both of us are not too sure if you might actually have a bit of a whirring noise in the background or not. If you do, we do apologise for that in advance. It's because both of us are currently having to have fans on because, for some unknown reason, in the UK, the weather's decided, I'm not going to be our typical selves and be cold anymore. We're just going to throw blistering heat.
Essentially, it might only be April, but it's decided it wants to be summer already. So it's 30 degrees, and fans are necessary things, even at this late stage of the day. It's gone 9 p.m. in the UK.
Well, in actual fact, we of course the Burning Truth do need fans, but we're not on about the actual fans as in to support us. We're on about the fans that to keep us.
Yeah, we mean
cool.
The metallic things with motors in that move air around, not the enthusiasts of pro wrestling. Although if you think about it, there are both in each room because we're sitting in front of one and we are the other. See what I did there?
I see what you did there. I saw what you did there. And I can also state, absolutely great to be back. Back to what. We are a bit later than usual with our scheduled programming, but as always, we do actually have it announced as we do start at any time between 9 and 10, which I'm so glad for that we actually do that.
Yeah, so we have definitely fulfilled that. But anyway, enough prevaricating, good word. What are we going to be talking about today, Mr. Burns?
We've got plenty of news in regards to this week, especially with the Superstar shake-up, some new name changes, which, oh good lord, painful to just state. We'll get onto that. Then we've also got...
Oh, is it ever?
Yeah, we've also got some topics in regards to a promo and a match between, a possible feud for somebody that's not looking, favourable. Then some of the changes up, but we have got some positivity, especially with some things that have been happening on SmackDown. We've also got some talk about some British wrestling, of course, and this is all starting with a topic that we were actually covering last week. Because we've actually got something to provide an update on that I couldn't actually provide an update on last week, as certain things weren't officially updated.
Ooh, is this British wrestling related?
No, this is not British wrestling related.
Ooh, okay, so it's not what I thought it was. That just means one thing, really. Tell me what it actually is.
It actually involves the CZW Heavyweight Championship, We stated that.
Oh,
We,
yes,
you know,
I remember.
I believe that we were stating that somebody had won it. You know, the gentleman that has the following monikers, which is he is the cream in your coffee, your favourite wrestler's favourite wrestler, the Jewish Cannon, the physical embodiment of charisma, the most entertaining man in professional wrestling, the Bernie Sanders of professional wrestling, the best of the best, Mr. Americana, Davey Wrestling, the 104-minute man, the main event, he's really good at Twitter, the king of taunts, the product, David Starr. Now, if I believe we were basically trying to decide whether he had won the actual CZW Heavyweight
Combat
Championship.
Zone Heavyweight Championship, yes.
Which I can actually state he had won it.
Ah, there you go. You see, you thought he had, but were unable, even with the power of the internet at your disposal, to find record of how. But it turns out you didn't think wrong.
But not just that, we originally stated that we thought Menace Warner was the champion. Now, unfortunately, on April 13th, 2019, at the event called Best of the Best 18, right, it ended up being that it changed hands not once, not twice, but 3 times.
3 times in the space of one evening. Good Lord.
Correct. And the funny thing about it was, it all kicked off with Anthony Green beating Mace Warner in a fatal 4-way, which also include Anthony Gargon and B-Boy. Now,
I see.
Anthony Green was also, I believe, in the Best of the Best tournament as well. And as such, instead of just stating, you know, I'm in this tournament, I'm just going to keep, you know, make all the matches non-championship matches. Nope, that wasn't the case. So then when he ended up coming up against David Starr, he ended up losing it on the same event.
So he lost the title because he put the title up in a Best of the Best tournament match.
While he'd already wrestled the Fatal 4-Way match.
Interesting. Which meant that David Starr was your second new champion of the evening. I'm guessing I'm getting this right.
Correct, that would be correct. And as such, well, technically he'd be the third person to be holding that belt on that night.
Well, yeah, the third person to hold it and the second new champion of the evening. Yeah.
Correct. However, David Starr continued on with the moniker, and in the final of the Best of the Best tournament, was defeated by John Silver, who won the Best of the Best tournament, but also the CZW Heavyweight Championship as well. And I will just state, it's not just a Heavyweight Championship, it's the CZW World Heavyweight Championship.
Do you know what? I know we're English and we're supposed to say Z, but it's CZW. It's just, it rolls off the tongue better that way. Or failing that, it's Combat Zone. I think the Z in the middle makes it sound clunky. That's just my opinion. You are entitled to pronounce it as you wish, but...
Everybody's different.
Since you didn't ask, there's my 2 pennyworth.
No worries there. But that's just an update. I just thought we'd just get clarified because I believe I actually had somebody message me directly saying, yeah, you were right.
So there you go. For, what was it, a little over an hour probably of the Best of the Best tournament show, he was the Combat Zone champion.
Or possibly even less, but he unfortunately didn't get past the day mark. But wow.
There you go.
But wow.
You know, interesting thought.
Go on.
You know, all those nicknames that you said that he has accumulated over the course of his incredibly successful indie wrestling career?
Yeah.
Watch when he signs with NXT and gets given the WWE-approved nickname Superstar with 2 R's. Just to basically say, yeah, well, you're in the big leagues now, son, so everything you've done before doesn't count. So you'll have the name we give you.
And
Please note, that was a joke. I hope that doesn't happen.
I got it. Especially since as his surname, David Starr, ends with 2 R's.
Yeah.
Tch.
Thank you. We're here once a week. If you're driving tonight, don't forget your car.
And please drink responsibly if you are, and please don't drink and drive.
Yeah, drink responsibly at all times, and never drink if you're driving. I think that's the current government line on the subject, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Right, moving swiftly on.
Let's get on to Raw and SmackDown for this week. Because we've got to cover it this week, especially with what week it is. Superstar Shake-Up.
The week after WrestleMania?
It's Superstar Shake-Up.
Yes. The thing that WWE have come up with a new name and flashy graphics for, that apparently the word draft is too complicated.
Or did they want to mix it up with the XFL?
Whatever. I think draft is much more snappy than Superstar Shake-Up. But whatever. The powers that be have decided, and so that is what it is.
Well, technically, they can't do it as a draft, because as much as they could turn around and say, well, we're on separate brands. We have different general managers. The general managers are running the show together. As the McMahons.
This is true. Yes. So basically what it is the shows in theory, Raw and SmackDown, are separate. Superstars can be traded between the two shows and can also make the jump from NXT and 205 Live to either Raw or SmackDown, although this year at least, not, as far as I was aware, from NXT UK.
The rumour has it was affecting all of them as well, actually. However, there was one person who might have not been mentioned, especially seeing as we have got the Intercontinental Championship on SmackDown now.
Yes.
With Finn Balor going over. And that is Samoa Joe was not mentioned, of course, but unfortunately his original segment ended up being changed. We don't know which one it was. However, this was due to the fact that when he arrived on Raw, he was unfortunately unwell and was not able to...
Oh, I see. I did wonder, because I take it they've done a straight swap between the Intercontinental Championship and the US Championship. One's gone one way and one's gone the other.
Correct, and he wasn't part of the added on the match graphics. We'll get onto that a bit later.
Yes, we will.
Of course, but the reason possibly why is Samoa Joe is a big enough name to make his mark on the new show, on his new show, on his new home.
Yes. I think that's probably the reason. Yeah, he doesn't need to... Let's not forget, I think it was only last year that he went from Raw to SmackDown in the first place, so...
Correct.
Switching him back out of necessity because he's the champion more than because they wanted to, probably. But needless to say, he's the United States champion. He will fit in perfectly back on the red side of things, I think.
That he will. He'll fit quite nicely. There was plenty of things going on with the whole Raw shake-up. We've got some fresh tag teams being manoeuvred. We've now got like the Usos on Raw.
Interesting.
Which explains why. Yes, I will just announce that we didn't discuss about the fact that the SmackDown titles had changed hands to the Hardys.
SmackDown Tag Team Championships, in what was billed slightly subduedly as the Battle of the Brothers in WWE, obviously. Yes, the Usos and the Hardy Boys. Wasn't expecting the Usos to lose, but since the Superstar shake-up, I now understand why they did.
Yes. And on top of that, the other reason why we didn't discuss the the Raw after or the SmackDown after WrestleMania is because when we did last week's episode, we had so much to talk about.
Did we ever? I think we ran to just over 2 hours as it was. So,
I believe.
Frankly.
And as such, we couldn't be covering 2 weeks in a row because as much as we don't mind going for 2 hours, we don't want to bore you.
We're not Monday Night Raw. We think 3 hours is too much. So we just left it.
Correct.
Because let's face it, there's about 100 guys and girls on Raw. There's only 2 of us. So 2 hours is plenty.
That's a posh. That's an extreme posh, actually. But anyway,
yeah.
the Superstar Shake-Up had plenty of people moving back and forth, especially with the big dog going over to SmackDown with Elias. And I will state, Vince McMahon endorsing Elias.
Ooh. I'm not sure whether that will prove to be Elias's rocket to the top or whether it will
be his downfall.
Go down the same route as the endorsement he gave Drew McIntyre the first time round.
Oh.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Oh. Yeah, that could be a good possibility. But
it could be good, it could be terrible.
Yeah, it's either going to work or it's going to be like what John Cena said at WrestleMania. What does WWE stand for Elias, really? Not walk with Elias. Wasted wrestling experiment. Ouch.
Ouch, indeed.
Yes, but the one thing I did notice that was quite interesting is that I did not expect Roman to be sent over to SmackDown, especially as there was the rumour that he could have been possibly feuding with Seth for the Universal Championship.
I'm thinking that they've got to find a way to shoehorn someone. They're both currently faces, right?
Yes.
They have got to find a way to shoehorn someone into the Universal title picture who isn't a face.
True.
So that they can possibly then have Braun Strowman back in said picture. But, adding Roman Reigns as well, who is currently also a face, doesn't really do that. So I can understand why.
It doesn't, but there was speculation of them doing it up to the Saudi Arabia show.
Yeah, I heard that, but needless to say, moving forward...
Nice twist.
Yeah.
And I did not expect the Superman punch on Vince McMahon.
I didn't either, but... Well, I kind of did, because, Vince McMahon, I'm fairly sure, until he is physically incapable of moving anymore, will still be willing to do anything he wants to ask his guys to do.
Fair enough. And the good thing about it is, with that changeover, it does actually mix it up. The only problem is straight away on SmackDown, there is no real villainous threat to Kofi's championship.
No, there's one, but apparently, unless your name is Shane McMahon, there's no such thing as automatic rematch clauses anymore. So the former champion might not necessarily automatically be at the head of the queue.
True. But then again, they were bigging him up, stating that, they were actually giving approval, stating that they did think that Kofi was a B+ player, almost re-referencing some of the old adage. But more on that later.
Oh, speaking of the Kofi and indeed the New Day, I very much enjoyed on this week's SmackDown
Big O?
The Big O as an honorary member of the New Day, beating no less than beating Big E's record for eating a whole plate full of pancakes.
Yeah. And
not long after nearly getting thrown out of being an honorary member, when he told the New Day he'd never eaten a pancake before, which was dangerous ground.
Oh, dangerous ground.
But no, he came through it and he beat Big E's record, so...
He powered through.
He did indeed.
What is interesting is how they did this. It ended up having me in absolute stitches, but at the same time also had me wondering, like how I just said, there's no top contender for a villain to be taking it, yes. Could they be setting the seeds to be making one? Because
possibly.
Take into account, Kevin Owens had just beaten Big E's record.
Mm.
And then, if I'm not mistaken, did Kevin Owens also make the usual New Day entrance announcements?
The one that Big E normally does, but that due to injury he couldn't do because he wasn't there. Yes, he did. Are you trying to suggest that you think that upon his return from injury, we might see heel Big E?
Could we potentially have some jealousy?
Some jealousy which leads to standard New Day backstage skit type stuff? Yes, I think so.
It's a possibility.
Fully fledged breaking up of the New Day and Big E heel turn? No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I got to be honest. I don't think so. Because, yeah, you can chop and change tag teams around from time to time, but not even Vince McMahon is silly enough to break up a license to print money like the New Day.
True. But he has supposedly been very, very red hot on Big E. And take into account, it wouldn't necessarily end the New Day if Big E left.
Well, on taking into account the situations where the Shield have broken up only to later come back together, yeah, it's possible that they could reform later anyway. They could just put it on hold for a bit.
But also take into account there's still 2 members.
Mm.
There is still 2 members. And they could fit in a third.
That's true.
They could fit in a third. A new third, actually. Or a fourth.
What, Kevin Owens full time? I'd sign up for that.
That'd be absolutely hilarious. And the funny thing about it is, do you know what that reminded me of?
What?
It reminded me a little bit of Poker Fun, and this was from at Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, when Kevin Owens teamed up with the Young Bucks.
Yeah, I remember that. Yes.
It reminded me of that, and it also shows how great a personality that Kevin Owens is. He's not just a villain.
He's brilliant.
He knows how to have a laugh.
Absolutely.
But anyway, we digress. We've been going all over the place with our original scheduled ideas and everything back and forth. But what was your overall view of the Superstar shake-up?
Well, there were some good moves, there were some bad moves, but no, actually, there weren't all that many bad moves. Overall, I think it gave the potential for some fresh new battles, and generally it was a good thing.
Yes. However, as it was a generally good thing, I have got to point out, yes, we have had some switches of the championship. We have got Finn Balor on Raw. We've also got Cien Almas on... Oh, no. Finn Balor on SmackDown, and we've also got, Almas on Raw.
Andrade.
Yeah. Cien Almas, is it Cien Almas or Andrade?
It's just Andrade now, isn't it?
I'll still call him Cien Almas.
CM, ladies and gentlemen, Mexican for 100.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yes. Which led to a memorable mini feud in NXT, where during which said feud, I believe Zelina Vega was very keen to point out to Mr. Ty Dillinger that he could be the perfect 10 all he wanted, but last time she checked, 100 was greater than 10.
Which is great.
Which was a bit of fun.
Yes. But anyway, we digress. That is some of the good points. We have got to talk about some of the bad points.
Yes.
And two of them that stand out.
Which one are we going to go for first?
Do you remember when I said about a certain match graphic that Samoa Joe wasn't on?
I do, yes.
Now, you remember who was on that match graphic? You know, we've got Miz on Raw.
Yeah, I do.
You know, viciously attacking Shane McMahon, which, yes, we didn't cover on this. We've only just mentioned it now, which I thought was absolutely barbaric, even though Shane put a bit of a beating on, but Miz somehow decked Shane McMahon with a chair so hard, he burst his own head.
Yes. I've still yet to work out quite how he managed that.
How'd you done that?
But nevertheless, it was a brutal beating.
It was. And we also got Rey Mysterio over there. We've got Usos. It's back and forth. And there was one extra person on that match graphic, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was. There was an extra person, located right on the right-hand edge of the screen. There was one extra person who got, apart from that graphic, precisely 0 acknowledgement and 0 screen time. And that's just not on.
Which, in case you want to know who we're on about, we are on about the leader of Sanity.
Well, the former leader now, unfortunately, by all accounts.
Correct.
Of Sanity.
Yeah. Eric
Sorry,
Young.
go on. Yeah.
What the hell?
I mean, give the guy some fanfare, seriously. And just stick him on a graphic and hope no one notices. He deserves better than that.
That to me felt even worse than actually just being part of the the additional guys, as in like what happened.
In part of the supplemental draft where they just announced it on the website and probably don't even mention it on TV. Yeah, that was actually worse because talk about a slap in the face. Look at all these people we're talking about. Oh, and there's that guy who we're not even going to mention.
Yeah, the leader of a guys that's got a big faction that can pretty rip up the place. Maybe.
That's nearly as bad as the Revival. Still, for 37 consecutive weeks now, getting their entrance during an ad break.
Oh,
but that's a rant for another time.
And no. Ladies and gentlemen, we've just gone from one topic into the other topic quite effortlessly. Thank you very much. Seeing as you mentioned the Revival.
Yep.
Who was in a 8-man tag match this week.
They were.
And they did not get an entrance. The former WWE Raw Tag Team Champions.
Got a full entrance which lasted, unfortunately for the viewers at home, the entire duration of the ad break.
Yeah. Oh,
which
dear.
Is a continued slap in the face to a team that really deserved better.
And then we had somebody coming in from NXT.
From out of the blue.
NXT.
NXT. No less than your current reigning
NXT champion.
Defending NXT Tag Team Champions.
It is.
War. What? No, let me chant war. What have you done? Oh, man.
No. If I'm not mistaken, isn't the War Raiders the NXT Tag Team Champions?
Yeah, the War Raiders are the NXT Tag Team Champions. Rowan Hansen.
Yeah.
But the team that I believe were called, I don't know, Egon and Eric, who turned up on Raw
Ivor and
under
Eric, who were
who turned up on Raw under the name The Viking Connection, don't half look similar.
No. It wasn't the Viking Connection. We can't go around it like that. We've got to get it right.
No, I apologise. No, quite right. It wasn't that.
You know how much this hurts me.
It was
the
Viking experience. Yeah, like I was saying, those two guys, they really, really look like Rowan Hansen from the War Raiders. I don't know if anyone's told them.
Even though, if I'm not mistaken, they were actually announced as the NXT champions as well.
That must be so confusing.
Must be.
No, I mean for them. It obviously is for us. It's like one of those mind benders that you just...
Yeah.
Don't think about it too hard. It'll scramble your brains.
But also, it was possibly announced that, Ricochet and Aleister Black got their official Raw names. Well, their name, their banner in the Raw style instead of the NXT style.
Oh, I see. The graphic that came upon their entrance was red and white and not yellow and black.
Correct.
Oh, interesting. But yeah, that was mighty confusing and a little bit silly, if I say so myself.
It's hurting me saying it, the Viking experience.
Yeah, but compounded by the fact that on Wednesday, which was, for those of you who could follow days of the week, after Monday, which was Raw, and Tuesday, which was SmackDown, on this week's NXT, Rowan Hansen turned up as the War Raiders, wearing War Raiders t-shirts and with the tag titles over their shoulders that say War Raiders on the removable side plate, agreeing to a match with the Street Profits next week on NXT.
Yeah, and what makes it even more...
Is your brain dribbling out of your ears as well?
Yeah, and what makes it even more of a mind numb is that you've got the Viking...
War Raiders.
Yeah, just...
Damn it.
I can't do it.
Well, okay, if we're going to be ultra pedantic here, it's War Machine.
Yeah.
It should always have been War Machine.
But WWE likes to have their own names.
Yes.
So why is it that they've given them a name that they've got popular with and change it again?
Damned if I know.
Especially when they come down to the ringside, get into the ring, and start chanting "War, war, war."
Yes. Bizarre.
What the hell?
I have no idea why they've randomly changed the superstar's name when he's popular. But if you'll give me a moment, I shall get my other phone out and call Alexander Rusev and ask him.
And while he asks, you can also potentially head towards over to the bar.
Yes, I might head over to the bar.
And I don't mean the drinking bar.
Well, that's where you'll find them, so that makes sense. But yeah, I wonder if I put out a call at the bar, actually, for an Antonio Cesaro, if he'll answer.
Yeah.
Or if he's all snooty about it and he tries to pretend it never happened.
Or almost.
Indeed.
But then again, sometimes a name change can make a difference, can be a hit or miss. And yet, why is it that we always remember the ones that are terrible, but never remember the ones that actually did the wrestlers some good?
I have no idea. Why, when you said that as well, did two things jump into my mind.
Go on.
A battered cardboard box with a really grotesque-looking vulture's head puppet sticking out of it, and the name Husky Harris.
Possibly, but I wouldn't say Husky Harris.
Well, that name...
Yeah.
...is one that WWE would like to be consigned to the dustbin of history.
Correct. But, instead, it got better and turned into Bray Wyatt.
Indeed. Who has been absent for a long time.
and could be making a
But
return.
I swear that Vulture's head that keeps interfering in WWE TV has got his laugh.
It
It's a
does
subtle
sound
hint,
like
I
it.
know, but
It does sound like it. But anyway,
I don't know what they're doing with the reanimated corpse of the gobbledygooker, but I wish they'd let him rest.
and of course,
Ladies and gentlemen, I have once again rendered Matt Burns
is
speechless.
WWE going to be getting sued by any time for possibly borrowing something from another film? One where
There's always the threat of it, but would you like to give me a hint as to what you're specifically referring to this time?
I'm potentially referring to want to play a game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, come on the lawsuit front. We shouldn't really stick our heads above the parapet, should we? After
That's
Thanos
why.
versus Jimmy Havoc gag from last week, I think we should keep well under the radar there.
Yes, that's why I didn't say it,
Yeah.
or even imply in which point that WWE do end up getting sued, and at which point we don't that be on us as well. Which if that does
No,
happen,
we certainly don't. Yeah.
Which if it does
moving
happen,
swiftly on, quickly, sweep this under the carpet. Change
I will-
routine. Change routine.
Wait. If it does happen, we do apologise. That's not actually our fault. We didn't actually make mistakes. Whoever wrote that segment should be shot. There we go. Moving on.
Whoever wrote that segment should no longer work in the industry, but no physical harm should come to them. God, you're not really trying very hard here, are you?
I wasn't actually saying shot as in with a shotgun.
Yes, but we don't advocate violence, do we?
Good point.
Unless it's heavily scripted violence in a 20 by 20 structure with 3 ropes around it for your entertainment. Yes. Okay, as I was trying to be subtle about there, let's move on and try and drag ourselves back to the Superstar Shake-Up. We've covered lots of ground. Who's moved where, how disappointed we were about the lack of coverage for Eric Young. But there's one thing that we were less than happy about that we haven't mentioned yet.
Well, not yet. There is 2 more things that I need to just quickly gloss over for SmackDown.
Okay.
Great to see Amber
this
Moon.
big one happened on Raw, so yeah.
Great to see Amber Moon on SmackDown.
Absolutely.
And it was also great. There was one problem with the segment I'm about to mention. Is it sounded like they were re-bringing back somebody. Was that Paige having a laugh at somebody else's expense?
Possibly. Very possibly.
You know, bringing some new people to SmackDown. Asuka and Kairi Sane. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. One of them is new
One
to
of those
SmackDown.
women was, up until very recently, the SmackDown Women's Champion, as Paige had a bit of amnesia there.
Yeah. What the hell?
Or was that a last-minute change because it was supposed to be not Asuka, but maybe a certain other Japanese woman who is associated with Kairi Sane?
Who knows? But it was...
Who forms a very successful tag team in
That they
NXT called, I believe, the Sky Pirates.
True.
For those that aren't sure where I was going with that.
I know, but even so, Asuka and Kairi Sane.
Does smack somewhat of desperation. Sort of, they're both Japanese, just throw them together, they'll be fine.
Which we on...
Yeah, we do not endorse that, but that's kind of how it felt from our point of
But at
view.
the same time, what a great pairing.
Oh, in terms of in-ring skill, yeah, definitely. No
I
two
actually
ways about it.
the only problem is if they do go for the WWE Tag Team Championship, well, Women's Tag Team Championship, how can the Iconics beat them?
You've got to say, the odds are stacked against the Australians.
Yeah.
Mind you,
Definitely.
also, bearing in mind the Women's Tag Team Championships, what's going on with the boss? Yeah, no, not him. The other one. Because Bailey did
Yeah.
make a fairly clear reference to now being a singles wrestler on SmackDown when she made the transfer.
There's still
Which,
speculation.
Yeah, the speculation running riot over her former tag team partner.
There is
That statement didn't help.
No, it didn't. And the speculation is that they might be keeping Sasha off television at the moment while they're trying to organise what is currently going on. There's
Essentially, sorry, go on.
There is possibility that Sasha could be still leaving, but not. But it's all up in the air. We don't know if she's leaving. We don't know if she's staying. But there is rumour has it that there is supposedly some heat on Sasha Banks in the locker room as of late as well.
The other rumour that I've heard is that she's seen the route that Dean Ambrose is taking and thinks, I want me some of that, and is maybe just taking a bit of time off to rest and let the heat die down a bit. And we'll be back, but just not for a while yet.
Possibly, but you mentioned Dean Ambrose. Yes, we are going to be discussing Dean Ambrose a little bit later, but that's because of a different sort of subject.
Yeah.
But just thought I'd just hint, because we've got to go back to Raw.
Yeah.
To discuss.
I like that. Hint to what's happening later, and now we go back. Yeah. Professionalism. It could catch on, you know.
It could catch on. But we just thought we would just mention that we will be discussing Dean Ambrose, but we need to return back to our scheduled topic, which was another bad point of. Well, it's not an actual bad point of the shake-up. This was a bad point of Raw.
A bad point of Raw. A point that maybe could have been handled a little bit better, shall we say. It's not a downright criticism. It's just a critique, a sort of maybe you could have done that better kind of thing, I think.
Now, this might sound a bit unusual and uncharacteristic of either of us.
But
which was to do with the whole, supposedly the next in line for Becky Lynch's championship, well, for the Raw championship. Why is she not defending both of them?
Well, because I'm assuming she's going to defend one on one show and then one on the show the next month.
So what happens when...
rather than make her fight 2 matches a show.
So what's going to happen when a pay-per-view comes round? Is she defending them both?
No, that's what I'm saying. Say, for example, when's the next pay-per-view? Money in the Bank?
Yes.
Defend the Raw title on that one. And when's the pay-per-view after? What's the pay-per-view after that? Is it the Saudi Arabia special, or is it another regular WWE pay-per-view?
Not 100% sure.
But like I said, assume Money in the Bank defends one, in this case Raw. Pay-per-view after defends SmackDown one.
Yeah.
And so on, and alternates, because that would make more sense than making Becky 2 belts also be Becky double time.
Yeah, but I do like Becky 2 belts.
I don't, because personally I don't like referring to the championships as belts. Because, okay, they were, they started, but they're not.
Hang on. I think there was a bit of distortion there, unfortunately, so would you care to repeat yourself, please, Blue?
Yeah, I know that that's what they started out as, but the championships in professional wrestling, they're not things that hold your trousers up anymore. They're more important than that. And thus, simply referring to them as belts, like, don't do it. It is a championship which you have earned. Treat it with the reverence it deserves. Seriously.
Who knows? It could be a bit of a nod to a former UFC champion.
Now you see, the light bulb has gone on, metaphorically, above my head there. I hadn't thought of that, but yes. knowing the WWE and their decades-long famed lack of subtlety on these subjects, it probably is.
Could they be referencing Conor McGregor?
Ooh, I wonder.
Possibly. It's a good possibility, as he has shown some interest towards possibly wrestling. But only rumours and speculation. That's all. But anyway,
Indeed.
Back to Raw, and this is the segment where, you know, even though it does involve Becky Two Belts, or Becky Lynch, as we will be calling her from now on, Becky Lynch, which is her full name.
Oh,
you know.
Interesting little aside there. WWE loves rubbish names for things and puns. Why has Becky Lynch never been put in charge of a Riot Squad style faction called the Lynch Mob? Just a thought. If you do decide to go down that road, Mr. McMahon, check in and post to the Burning Truth, please. Thank you very much.
Did not see that one. Did not see that one about him. Anyway, back on to it. Now, at the moment in time, the rumoured, supposedly next in line is Lacey Evans.
And, dun dun dun,
what are your thoughts on
I'm
this?
about to defend Lacey Evans, shocker.
Right.
I have, in the past, on this very podcast, I'm aware, been more than a little disparaging of the work of Miss Evans.
Correct.
I'm aware of that. I own it. I'm not trying to hide. I think that her character was one-dimensional and they maybe rushed her through and she wasn't really ready. That remains.
That still
and that
remains.
links to your point later about the match. But
Yes.
you spoke to me midweek about the promo that she cut,
Yes.
saying that you thought it was perhaps less than stellar, and I have to jump to her defence and say, yes, it wasn't the best promo in the world. It was written by WWE, as they all are, and thus had the potential to sound like all the others, because like one writing team writes all of them. But I think she delivered what was probably a 4 out of 10 standard promo as best someone of her limited experience could. And I don't think her delivery was the problem. The content of the promo, however, left you somewhat irked.
For me, I felt as though the promo was technically -5 stars, just to quote a certain channel that's revolves around wrestling mistakes. But
Yes.
the point being is, it's not because of the... I'll explain this, and this is where...
Yeah, it's not because of the delivery.
It wasn't the delivery.
It was
My
the content.
issue with the promo was the actual content, and lately, WWE... And this is not a knock on Lacey Evans herself. This was to do more so with the writing team. If she did that herself, then she should... That's a god-awful promo, and she should have worked on it massively. And I'm pretty sure that WWE will be not trusting her again with her own promo. If a writer wrote that, whoever wrote that needs to have that rechecked
P45 in the morning.
and have their P45 potentially in the morning. But we're not actually stating that actually because, you know, or be a slapped on the wrist, not an actual P45. Just state, because we do actually respect people that people do have families, and second chances should be
we
provided.
respect it's a difficult job, obviously, and you're not going to hit a home run every time. But the content of the promo left a little bit to be desired, and specifically...
Character destroying.
Yeah, the bit where it implied... What did you say before?
We won't mention what it implies, because we are going to...
Well, no, I was simply going to say the bit where it implied something that someone on a family entertainment show shouldn't be implying.
Especially with her gimmick.
Yeah, which runs completely contrary to her gimmick as well, which doesn't help.
It doesn't help, especially seeing as we are currently, if I'm not mistaken, going through a women's evolution period.
Yes. Yeah, essentially, she delivered the promo as best she could with her limited experience. The promo itself sucks, but she did her best. And I think as far as delivering promos go, she's not doing bad. It's just a shame that in the ring, things aren't perhaps progressing quite as smoothly.
Now, as you just stated, the promo wasn't the best because of the content, not because of who was saying it or what and everything. And how it was said, as how it was said was fine. It was just the content just didn't suit the moment, didn't suit the role, didn't suit.
Yeah.
It was the content of the promo. But the one thing that Lacey cannot hide behind the writer without a shadow
is what
of doubt,
happens between the ropes.
Now, she's in the ring with Natty.
And seriously,
Neidhart.
if you don't listen to what Natalya says and let her help you through what you're doing, then you don't deserve to be in there, to be honest. Because what she doesn't know about that sort of thing isn't worth knowing.
Natty is a very, very well-known wrestler, and unfortunately I thought it was a bit unusual that it was her who came out, seeing as she hasn't done anything to gain attention to become a potential number one contender, or even have the right to, as of yet, but she was fulfilling her role. She was doing
Absolutely.
her best. And unfortunately, I felt as though Lacey's being hyped up as the next person in line for the WWE Women's Championship to fight Becky Lynch. She's going to be smacking the man, beating the man because she has a woman's right.
Don't even get me started on that name. Ugh, it's making my teeth itch with rage.
It's just
right. It's time to stop being about the bush here. She can't hide behind the fact in ring she's not ready yet.
She's not, and unfortunately, it massively showed against Natty this week.
Yes.
Massively.
Like I said earlier, you would have thought that she'd have stood literally backstage in the gorilla position and just listened to everything Natalya had to say, taking it on board, and,
But to defend
let
her,
Natalya help her out. But no,
but
perhaps
to
it
defend
didn't work
her
that way.
at the same time, it was an okay match.
Oh, it was a perfectly okay match, but it was not in any way, shape or form the kind of barn burner that you'd expect from someone who you're trying to make appear to be the number one contender for a championship. Correct. And unfortunately, because that's what she is, that's what it needed to be. So it fell horribly short.
It did, which is massively unfortunate.
It is. WWE, unfortunately, has a history of every now and again just deciding to greenlight someone's charge towards a championship or up the card and not perhaps giving them the time and the space they need to make best of it. And, rush things a little bit. And this is definitely one of those times.
Possibly. And on top of that, it just didn't flow right.
No.
It just felt a little bit under. But we're going to move on. I'll be honest with you, I don't see Becky Lynch dropping the titles to Lacey Evans anytime soon.
Stranger things have happened, but honestly, no, neither do I. I mean, it's a sort of odd to have her come in at the top like that, especially thinking that she, as we both do, that she will probably fall short. But, hey, that's what WWE have done, so they've got to run with it as best they can.
That it is. And for one of the final points for WWE this week, I want to bring up, what is your thoughts on Sami Zayn?
I thought it was brave of him this week on SmackDown to appear in front of his hometown crowd and basically call them all a bunch of
That was on
horrible
Raw.
hypocrites. Was that on Raw?
That was on Raw.
My apologies. Appear in front of his hometown crowd and call them all out and say he wants nothing to do with them. Yeah,
He loves
brave.
the place. He loves the place, but not the people.
I said he wants nothing to do with the people, yeah. A very brave decision, but hey, he did it, and
Oh, yeah.
I
He's
think this is
getting
one of those
hated.
situations where it's kind of a Kane scenario, isn't it?
Yeah.
He might not necessarily agree with what he's doing, but damn it, he's putting everything into it.
Oh, no, but the thing is, he's going into it full-heartedly.
Oh, he's putting everything into it, and
I like to
if
see where
there's
this
one
is
way
heading.
to ensure that it succeeds in the long run, it's give it everything you've got.
And I look forward to seeing where it heads.
Me too, absolutely.
But anyway, we have got to mention one thing with wrestling, which is to do with Dean Ambrose, who did make a surprise visit on Raw after off the air, stating he was just popping in by.
Yep.
Now, but it was just a quick message to the fans and everything, and just stating, and if I'm not mistaken, he's actually got his official farewell on the WWE Network, which will be on a part of the WWE Network, which is going to be a house show against the Baron Corbin mid-card of Evil with the Shield
Aha.
for the final time.
Interesting. Is that the thing that's called, the final act of the Shield or something like that?
Something along the lines. That will be the final time that they ever are together in the ring. Now,
At least for now.
rumour has it, with Dean Ambrose, that AEW is very, very much interested in acquiring Dean Ambrose.
As you would expect from a company which isn't WWE that wants, frankly, the 1,000 megawatt light bulb of extra publicity that is acquiring a recently left WWE superstar.
But it's not just that. It's also more important and pivotal for AEW because they are recently in negotiations with trying to get some TV time, which supposedly they are hoping to bolster up their roster, and they believe that they haven't got a big enough widespread, internationally known roster, more famous roster, big enough yet for them to be given a primetime slot for television as of yet. And that Dean Ambrose could be someone who could bolster it. But there has been no actual conversations in regards between AEW and Dean Ambrose as of yet. But
not least because leaving or on hiatus, whatever Dean Ambrose happens to be, 90-day no-compete clause.
Correct. But at the same time, there's also speculated rumour that Double A Austin Aries could have signed.
Oh, interesting. I thought you meant Arn Anderson for a second there.
No. I would have said the Enforcer.
Double A, Arn Anderson, not A double, Austin Aries.
That's it, my mistake. Apologies.
Important distinction.
Correct. A double. Potentially, Austin Aries could have signed because he just says Las Vegas has just got one of the biggest deals with a closed piece of paper and a pen on top, looking like he's signed a contract.
Interesting. AEW, the new American home, of course, of one of my favourite British indie wrestlers, Mr. Jimmy Havoc.
And also, Pax
Round of applause
on
for
there.
him for that one. Yep.
Pax on there. We've got many top stars on there.
As far as former WWE free agents go, they've already got one.
Correct.
Indie artist who probably hopes to hear the words Adrian and Neville never again.
But then again, you could say also A double.
Former WWE superstar had a Cruiserweight Championship match at WrestleMania. Didn't win, but had a match nevertheless. Has appeared on the WrestleMania card.
But
Every
it was dropped
little
off the
bit
DVD.
of publicity helps.
But
Sorry?
it was actually officially dropped off the DVD, unfortunately.
Was it?
Yes. Which was rumoured to be one of the reasons why he ended up leaving and why Pac potentially left as well. And if I'm not mistaken,
If
they've
so,
also
understandable.
And if I'm not mistaken, AEW have also got former WWE wrestler Chris Jericho.
Yeah, that was the one that I heard that made me sort of do a double take and go, what? Really?
But
But
AEW hasn't officially announced it's AEW. It just says Las Vegas. Now, a lot of people are saying, but that could be UFC. Aries hasn't shown an interest in mixed martial arts.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone mention Austin Aries and UFC in the same sentence until you just now. So
Correct.
that would be a surprise.
Correct. But there is a wrestling show coming up involving AEW in Las Vegas, which is Double or Nothing.
Hence, why that nice little cryptic statement there could mean the believed and obvious, or it could be something really oblique. I guess time will tell.
Time will tell, but we'll have to wait and see. And let me just point this one out. There's been speculation that AEW are supposedly paying for TV time to happen. That it's a rumour. There is the rumour that it's going round, but there's also counter rumours stating that is not the case. You know, there is television companies that are actually speaking to AEW about potential and offering money, money in regards to having the show and actually purchasing the content that they are going to be providing for them for their network exclusively.
I see. Well, we'll give you more news on AEW as we get it, but I'm sure, like us, you'll follow the speculation and you'll be like, ooh, I don't know, what's going on there? Just remind us, though, when is the Double or Nothing show?
May 25th.
And in a lovely segue, moving on from the Superstar Shake-Up and on to our next topic of conversation, Mr. Matt Burns.
Yeah.
Isn't there something of almost a seismic importance happening on this side of the pond on that very same day?
Yes, there is. Which is, sorry to toot our, officially a toot our own horn, which is the UKWA Sugar Rush event that is happening. Of course, where we will be having special guest superstar or special guest wrestler hailing from America, Sugar Dunkerton.
Yes.
We have got some interesting matchup building up for it. We've got some, some heavy talkers. I've also got to be dishing out some form of a possible punishment and finding out, maybe handing out a punishment depending on somebody's answer in regards to why was he involved in the last UKWA main event.
Would you be referring to your general manager by any chance?
Correct. Oh, no. Yes, I would be in regards to speaking of, the entrepreneur Christopher Drew, who has plenty to answer to.
Yeah, he certainly does.
But. Posters, leaflets have been going out like crazy. I know, because, let me just state this, I was doing it myself as well.
Yeah. Oh, can I just state as well, the rumours are not going round with regards to UKWA presents Sugar Rush, and UKWA are indeed not spending the big bucks on the television deal because, drumroll please, we've already got one.
We've already got
Would you like to
Turnbuckle
tell
TV.
us, Mr. Matt Burns, where... Oh, I was going to build it up a little bit.
Oh, come on.
I was going to say, would you like to tell us, Mr. Matt Burns, where the exclusive home of all UKWA shows on the internet is?
Well, if anybody wants to watch some of our actual big matchups, which it can actually be caught out on the UKWA can be caught out on what is also known as TTTV, or as I prefer to call it, Turnbuckle TV.
TurnbuckleTV.com?
Yes, that is correct.
Or is it .co.uk?
It can be, I believe it's... If you type in Turnbuckle TV on Google, you will find the correct one.
Turnbuckle TV, your one-stop shop for not quite all yet, but growing and more every day of the UK's wrestling promotions in one place. The Netflix of wrestling is what I think they're aiming for. UKWA is just one of over a dozen companies who've already signed up, and
Correct.
Many more are sure to follow.
Correct. And in case you were actually wondering what it was actually TurnbuckleTV.com.
It was TurnbuckleTV.com. Your one-stop shop for everything British wrestling.
Is.
And yes, you can use that in an advert. Thank you, Turnbuckle TV. All checks made payable to the Burning Truth, please.
No. We don't need to do that. The basic place where you've got multiple companies, you've got loads of wrestling companies on there, top to bottom. I can also say more.
As I said, your one-stop shop for British wrestling.
Yeah, I actually agree with that.
Soon to be recognised as the only place to see quality British wrestling. Sorry, Zach Gibson. I apologise unreservedly for that, but it needed to be done.
Love it. Absolutely love it. But anyway, let's just state this.
Yeah,
we have got some of the matches that will be coming out soon. Very, very soon.
Announcements of matches happening soon. I like that. So, where can we go when these announcements happen to find out what they are?
If you want to find out what the matches are going to be, please keep an eye out on our social media, of course, which is like on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. But also, supposedly, there's also the added bonus that there could be even some announcements being made on YouTube as well.
Ooh, lovely. And of course, on all of the social medias that we do, so in my case, Twitter and Instagram, and in Mr. Matt Burns' case, Bookface as well, anything that gets posted via the official UKWA sites, we will more than likely repost.
Correct. And I've also been made aware that a unknown message has been sent in, but not been informed
cryptic.
of who it's from as of yet. I've just had it stated that it's been sent in. There's been no name or any clear indication from whom has sent it.
I see.
So,
does the message consist of a slightly lost-looking bloke talking to himself in front of a cracked mirror? Because if it does, I'd worry.
Not too sure. Not too sure at all. But the question is I'm actually in two minds whether to literally have it checked out by the supporters, by the team, and then have it come out at the same time so I get to watch it at the same time as yourselves. Or do I need to see this? Or
whether you're going to watch it first.
Potentially, because the message from what I've been given is it has a very serious tone and something that will capture our attention.
Ooh, intriguing. So, you're going to want to wait, you're going to want to check all of the UKWA social media feeds for when that drops.
Potentially. But, and I mean this is with a heavy but of speculation, that it is not the only time, because between now and May 25th, normally most people will be saying that the King of the Kingdom Championship will only be defended then.
Ooh, is that not the case?
That isn't the case. as...
Drum roll, please. When else will the UKWA King of the Kingdom Championship be defended?
The King of the Kingdom Championship is going to be defended, and I believe I'm just getting the details up as we speak.
King of the Kingdom Championship, the prestigious championship of the UKWA. However, due to the wonderful nature of cooperation amongst British wrestling companies, not just defended there. Oh no!
Oh no, it is going to be defended at Fusion Pro Wrestling this coming Saturday, so 27th of April, at the Ty Harper's Community Centre in Llandudno.
I see.
For the event Encore, which is the second anniversary for Fusion Pro Wrestling.
Impressive.
And it's the matchup that is so interesting that I'm pretty sure as soon as I mention it, it's going to capture everybody's attention.
This is the match for the King of the Kingdom Championship.
Correct.
Therefore, it will be pitting the current reigning defending King of the Kingdom champion,
who has now recently dubbed himself the Handsome Giant, who has dubbed himself as the winner and best King of the Kingdom champion, which many could argue.
Yes. We are, of course, referring to
Charles Kelsey.
Indeed we are. I'm waiting for you to say that because it was on the tip of my tongue and I was like, yeah.
You should know who it is.
I know who it is, I just didn't want to say his name
Please
wrong.
don't ever forget his name because I don't fancy having him on here breaking the mics.
I didn't want to say it wrong. If it's going to be done, it's got to be done properly. There's no half-arsing it with Mr. Kelsey, is there? You've got to go all or nothing.
True.
Anyway,
he'd probably
will be
angry with me. He'd probably be upset with me because I didn't pronounce him correctly. But anyway, he is defending his championship.
He'll be defending the championship against...
in a triple threat.
Ooh.
He is against Ben Jones.
Nice.
And A.J. Hughes.
A.J. Hughes, none other than the man that many at UKWA will be familiar with because he defended the Fusion Pro Grand Championship at the last UKWA show.
Yes, which is interesting. So we have got we've got Charles Kelsey versus Ben Jones versus the current Fusion Pro Grand champion AJ Hughes for the King of the Kingdom Championship.
Now, I know.
Could there be speculation? Could this be controversy? Could this be rumours? But anyway, we digress.
Is it just the UKWA Championship that's up for grabs?
It is just for the UKWA King of the Kingdom Championship.
So there is no potential whatsoever that Charles Kelsey could start calling himself Charles Two Belts as well.
Kelsey Two Belts, you mean?
Yeah, because he's not.
Or, as I believe he was trying to announce himself at another show as Champ.
I believe I would also like to pitch this to him as a potential if he does ever win the second title. Double winner?
Don't give him ideas.
Well, I'd rather stay in his good books. I'd rather give him ideas than annoy him.
But anyway, we digress.
Yes.
We do digress. But it's all on the line. Definitely going to be one that you're going to want to be checking out.
Absolutely.
But there's more to that event.
Oh, Caught me by surprise there. Okay, go on.
There is more to it. As I am just getting the details up now for yourselves, as of right now.
Just while Mr. Matt Burns gets the details of that up, I would just like to say, I was watching NXT before we started the broadcast tonight, and I must say I'm rather taken with Mr. Gargano's new Sunshine Yellow Johnny Champion t-shirt. I think I might be getting myself one of those.
Yes, well, are you ready for this?
Right, okay, I've talked enough nonsense. Mr. Matt Burns has found the relevant information. I'm ready. Listeners, are you?
But, well, it is relevant information, seeing as this is news in regards to myself.
Ladies and gentlemen, in something that is no way whatsoever possibly a bit weird, Matt Burns news, delivered by Mr. Matt Burns.
Directly. I am also fighting at Fusion Pro Wrestling, coming on Saturday, 27th of April. I will be taking on Ashton Lover, who I have faced previously and defeated. And I am also fighting the Pirate, Joey Marcus, in another triple threat. And this is for a number one contendership match for the CCW Welsh Championship.
Ooh. Interesting. So what you're saying there is the potential in future, possibly not in time for May 25th for Sugar Rush, but for UKWA shows in the future, that the boss of UKWA is going to have a big gold belt and half the roster aren't. Interesting. Obviously, of course, that is provided that you, A, win the number one contenders match, and B, win the title itself in the title match. That's a lot of ifs, but you get what I'm saying.
True. But it is very unusual that I am in for the match. For a belt. And I can also say I am absolutely looking forward to the match. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that Joey Marcus stated that if me and him paired up together against Ashton Lover, we could very well become, the burnt ship. Or if he teamed up with Ashton Lover, it could be, host their own season of Love Island.
I see what you did there.
That's not me. That's not me. Let me just take this one thing. Regardless of it, I'm going to be there to do one thing and one thing only. Well, actually, two things, actually. One, to have that crowd entertained as much as possible.
And two, put over UKWA fit to burst a blood vessel.
And secondly, to show that I'm not just a pushover. I do know how to handle myself very clearly, and I will clearly show why Fusion Pro Wrestling have put their faith in me to be in a fighting chance to become a number one contender for the CCW Welsh Championship.
Cool. And just a reminder for those at home who may be a bit slow or who may have missed it, when's that going down?
That is going down on Saturday, 27th of April.
That's next Saturday, fact fans.
Just to state that it is next Saturday, and something you will definitely need to check out. Definitely, as they have even got the CCW Welsh Championship on the line, of course, and many, many other matches as well. But
interesting hypothetical question here.
Go on.
If somewhere down the line you win it, would you defend it on your own shows, or is that like nepotism gone mad?
I don't know exactly.
Are you basically dodging that bullet by saying we'll cross that bridge when we come to it? Thought as much. Let's move on.
Pretty much. However, I will state this. I will be a fighting champion if I do any championship that if I win it, I will be a fighting champion.
It's what we like to hear. Round of applause for Mr. Matt Burns.
Just to
It's
say
only
that
me
fact.
here. This is quite embarrassing, but okay.
But anyway, I believe that would be more than enough that we have discussed this week.
Yeah, just one question before we wrap things up. Just a quick throwback to the Superstar Shake-Up,
Go on.
because it's a detail which is quite important for the careers of quite a lot of legends so far.
Go on.
Was it decided which brand a certain basically comes out and destroys people as he sees fit freak has ended up on?
No, it's not been made final. As of
Oh,
yet.
good. No, I wasn't sure if it had been decided and I just missed it. If it hasn't, that's good.
It hasn't.
I'd hate to think something that obvious and it just went straight over my head. That's not a good sign.
No. You are up to date, and it's in a first. You actually caught up. With WWE,
Well, you know,
it's great. And we're on the same level.
it's good.
But anyway, we digress.
So, is it now the part of the show where I take a back seat and you take a deep breath and get lots of shameless plugging done?
It is close to it, but we've got to just mention next week's topics.
Ah, yes, of course.
Next week, we are going to be discussing, I believe, in regards to some of the WWE Network exclusives. We're going to be basically talking about some of the network exclusives and basically stating, are they worth it? One case of example is like the Worlds Collide network exclusive.
The Worlds Collide series, which were there was the original one shortly before WrestleMania, and they've done, I believe, 2 or possibly even 3 more over WrestleMania Access Week. Worlds Collide, I believe, subtitled Cruiserweights Collide, and what's the other one? Oh yeah, the other one was NXT versus former NXT superstars.
Correct.
So I'm going to be watching
WWE alumni. You mean NXT
That's
alumni?
That's the one. And I'm going to be watching both of these, as is Matt Burns, and we will be basically like a record review, hit, miss, or maybe for them next week. Are they an experiment WWE should continue or not?
Of course, we will be providing an update on the on the King of the Kingdom Championship, and in regards mentioning some of the details of the Fusion Pro Wrestling show Encore, which is the 2nd anniversary. We'll be discussing some of the details in regards to that, and any other announcements that are made for UKWA. But actually, there is one more topic that I've actually, even though we have just discussed next week's topics, there is one topic that I've almost barely just let go and let slip by, which I am so glad I just remembered it.
Ooh, intrigue. Go on, what is it?
And that is somebody has come to the decision to be leaving WWE.
Ooh. We've already discussed the much publicly discussed actual leaving. We don't know if it's temporarily or permanently of Dean Ambrose, and the potential leaving of Sasha Banks. So who else are we referring to?
We are referring to somebody who, and it was when you mentioned, the NXT Network special, as I believe this gentleman had an absolute stellar match against, I believe that, and I will most likely butcher the pronunciation of this person's name, which is... Go on?
No, I was just saying, as in, I'm bracing for you mispronouncing it. Go on.
Dijakovic?
Are you referring to Monster of NXT, Dominik Dijakovic?
Yes,
Yes.
I am.
Hang on,
Apologies
so
for the...
he's not the one who's leaving, it's the person
No.
he had the match against.
Yes.
Who might be. Okay.
The gentleman in question is a former Wyatt family member.
Ah, yes, no. I have heard rumours that it's beyond simply rumour stage, and that he has actually handed in his notice.
He has actually handed his notice in, and it is actually on Instagram and all over social media.
Which would be a damn shame.
Correct. Would you care to name him?
The bludgeon brother on the left. Oh, sorry.
Could you please repeat that? Because unfortunately, it sounds like the microphone. Unfortunately, it sounds like there was a bit of a skip, which we do apologise for.
So, which bit of it do you want me to repeat?
Please repeat it, as you just mentioned, the bludgeon brother on the left.
Ah, yeah. Also known to some as Luke Harper.
Correct. Luke Harper has handed in his notice, and
for me, that's a big loss.
That is. For
the former one-time Intercontinental Champion and is it 1 or 2-time Tag Team Champion?
I believe...
Definitely 1, so we'll go with that. But
I think it's 1.
Yeah.
Well, possibly 2. But let me just state this. It does sadden me that he is leaving WWE, and I hope nothing but the best for him, as he is one of the most agile big men,
absolutely,
that we've been proud to actually see.
Indeed.
On WWE television.
That's the trouble with WWE at the moment, if you can call it a trouble, is the embarrassment of riches in terms of talent that they've got means someone as good as Luke Harper can get a bit lost in the shuffle.
It wasn't that he was lost in the shuffle, it's just the fact that he just recently returned and made his return at WrestleMania as part of the...
in the Underground Memorial Battle Royal.
And it's just surprised me that he's leaving so soon. I thought it was a bit unusual that they didn't make a bigger thing of his return.
Perhaps this knowledge was in the back of their minds. Who knows?
Possibly. But absolutely heart-wrenching. But we hope nothing but the best for him.
All the best for his future endeavours, wherever they may take him.
Correct. And with that is all topics covered for this week, as I am now going to go into the, our usual plug section.
Shameless plug ahoy!
Of course. But, ladies and gentlemen, let me just state the following. Please check out the following, which are UKWA, also known as UK Wrestling Alliance, UKWM, also known as UK Wrestling Media. Please, of course, check out Manchester Pro Wrestling Academy. Beginner classes are, as always, on Mondays, £10 per class, set between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. For actual details of actual location, please check them out on their social media. Please check out JG Printing and Stitching. Absolutely do phenomenal work, great work, especially with polo shirts, which I've actually had some custom work done from them. And of course, please check out charities, for example, like Mind, and of course Changes for Health and Well-Being. Please check them out. Of course, please check out Team 4-Star with their great content of always, especially with Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Please check out bands for some great bands like The New Breed, Kamens, and many others. Like I'm gonna have to throw in an extra one here, like a band called Blackpool, who are absolutely phenomenal. And of course, please, as always, squeeze in Botchamania and WrestleCrap. You're welcome, Matthew.
Nice one. You're welcome, RD.
You're welcome. And of course, please check out Phil DeFranco, of course, getting some of the latest topical news out there in the most entertaining way on YouTube, as he is doing it in the most non-biased way, but also making a conversation of it. Of course, please check out When Fandom Strikes on TikTok and YouTube. Great single. It's a great singer. She's got some great vocals, and of course some of her TikTok content is absolutely hilarious. Of course, please check out Luke Moto with his usual, I believe, blogging that he does. And of course, please this week, of course, check out Geek of the Week, especially this week, which is hosted by Magic Mark Adams. This is going to be a week where you're definitely going to want to be, talk, if you want to hear anything, all things geek, especially with this week, or this coming Friday, if I'm not mistaken, especially with it being, that big special event, that Marvel event that is hitting cinemas, which is, we're now in the end game, which is, to coin a phrase.
Which is hashtag Avengers Thunder Bastard?
No.
That's just me, isn't it?
It is the Avengers Endgame film.
Avengers Endgame.
Please check out Geek of the Week, which is absolute for all you and all geek knowledge. Please, of course, check out Turnbuckle TV, also known as TBTV. They've got some great content going on to there. And of course, please always check out your local shows. Just to name a few, please check out United Wrestling, Academy Pro Wrestling, Fusion Championship Wrestling, and
name but a few others.
Fusion Pro Wrestling. Of course, please check out Future Championship Wrestling, Fusion Pro Wrestling Championship, and of course, Pro Wrestling for You. And I believe you wanted to mention one as well.
Just to name a few others as well. Future Shock, GPW, and if, like me, you happen to be not anywhere near where Mr. Matt Burns lives, in the southeast of England, in the Kings Lynn area, please check out Falling Star Wrestling as well.
Of course, and please check out any local wrestling shows in your area, as we always state that. We are an avid fan of checking out local wrestling.
Absolutely. Look it up. Google wrestling in my area, because there's more than likely to be, there's more than likely to be a promotion pretty much wherever you are. So if you find one, check them out.
Check them out. You could be entertained. And of course, please check out the Burning Truth website, which is www.theburningtruthuk.com, where you can potentially listen to us live, listen to past broadcast episodes, past interviews, show reviews, merchandise page where you can get some snazzy t-shirts and office mugs. Of course, check out our, you can even send us messages on, the contact page. Of course, check out our links page. But we have to clearly state that if you do check out some of the links that we have on there, we cannot be held responsible for external websites.
Indeed.
And of course, please check out our social media, which we are on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, which I'll spell out the Twitter handle for you, which is WRESLING4THWALL. And of course, please check out some past episodes that are also on Spotify. And that is a wrap up for this week. Thank you very much for listening to us both. I've been Matt Burns, of course, with my colleague John Bloor. He has been John Bloor. You know what? I am going to have to come up with a nickname for you. Officially, John.
I've told you. I have a nickname already.
Go on.
As far as UKWA is concerned, so why not tag it along here? I am the voice of reason.
Possibly the voice of reason.
The UKWA's voice of reason, anyway.
Well, you are the voice that gets it out to the fans, especially as you are, one of the great members of the broadcast team, which is, you're on the announced team.
Exactly. So yeah, I could be anything. I could be the voice of reason. I could use my old in-ring nickname, the Instant Legend. You may call me what you wish.
He has many, many names, but let's just state this. That is a wrap-up this week, and please, as always, stay well, stay safe. We will catch you next week, but please, 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 always check out your local wrestling, and we will catch you next week. Till then, catch you laters.
Thank you, and good night.